The girl shifted to her other side and pulled the blanket over her head, trying to drown out the irritating noise. What was that incessant sound, and why wouldn't it stop? Olzia frowned and sat up, her sleek disheveled hair falling across her face. It was the doorbell. She glanced at her watch, her bleary eyes registering the early hour, 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Who could be at her doorstep at this time? Olzia hastily threw on her robe, her mind racing with thoughts of emergencies or unexpected visitors. She swiftly opened the front door and, "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice tinged with annoyance. "I came to see you," Pavel replied, a hint of excitement in his voice. "I missed you. Here," he handed her a box. Curiosity mixed with Olzia's grogginess as she accepted the box. "What is it?" she asked, still not fully awake. "The cakes," Pavel answered, a touch of pride evident in his tone. Olzia's eyebrows knitted together as she tried to process the situation. "Let's get something straight," she began, her voice laced with frustration. "Okay," Pavel agreed, sensing her agitation. "For the past 2 weeks, you've been disappearing, practically avoiding me, using work as an excuse," Olzia continued, her voice rising. "And now you show up at my place on a Saturday morning, waking me up. Do you have any idea how scared I was? And all this for what? To bring me cakes, knowing full well that my mother expects me to lose weight for my father's anniversary. I've been on a strict diet for a month, and you chose cakes." "I baked them myself," Pavel interjected, his voice tinged with sincerity. Olzia's eyes widened, the anger momentarily replaced by surprise. "You baked them?" she repeated, disbelief coloring her voice. Pavel nodded, a hint of nervousness evident in his expression. "Yes, I learned how to bake. I took a cooking class. I wanted to do something nice for you." Olzia's anger wavered as she considered Pavel's efforts. "Well," she squinted at the box, her tone softening. "I have to admit, this changes things." "Olzia, please don't be angry," Pavel implored, his eyes filled with remorse. "I truly wanted to surprise you and show you how much I care." She sighed, feeling a mix of emotions. "It's just, you know how much I struggle with diets and self-control. And it hurts that you didn't seem to pay attention to that. But I appreciate the gesture, I really do." Pavel reached out to gently hold Olzia's hands. "I'm sorry, I should have been more considerate. I'll support you in your diet, and we can enjoy the cakes another time." A hint of a smile tugged at Olzia's lips as she squeezed his hands. "Thank you for understanding, and for baking. It means a lot to me." As they stood there, facing each other, Olzia realized that beneath her initial frustration, Pavel's intentions had been genuine. Perhaps this unexpected surprise had more depth than she had initially perceived. "Pash, are you an idiot?" Olzia asked, her frustration evident in her voice. "We've been fighting about this for 2 weeks, and you couldn't even tell me that you had evening courses? Why all the secrecy?" "Well, I guess I could have," Pavel admitted, his tone tinged with remorse. "And then the brownies." Olzia continued, her voice filled with exasperation. "Seriously? You couldn't have made a salad or something healthier?" "Olzia, you're killing the suspense," Pavel protested, his voice pleading. "Salad isn't romantic, and telling you about the courses wouldn't have been interesting." "Sure," Olzia replied sarcastically, her frustration mounting. "And waking me up at 8 in the morning on a Saturday after 2 weeks of fighting is the epitome of romance. Pash, I'm sorry, but I need to go back to bed. I don't have the energy to talk about all of this right now. I don't even know how to react. We'll talk later." With that, Olzia slammed the door and retreated to the bedroom. She climbed back into bed, hoping to find solace in sleep. However, sleep eluded her. Anger and guilt swirled within her, preventing any restful slumber. Yet, she refused to give up. She tried to force herself back to sleep for almost 2 more hours, but her efforts proved futile. At 10 o'clock, Olzia finally surrendered to the wakefulness and got out of bed. She prepared another dietary breakfast, pondering her next course of action. In the end, unable to make a decision, Olizia picked up her phone and dialed her best friend Jinya's number. "Are you awake?" she asked when Jinya answered. "We need to talk." "No, of course, I'm not asleep," Jinya replied, her voice filled with frustration. "Mine woke me up half an hour ago. Apparently, he can't wait for me to wake up. He's starving, so I had to get up and cook. Why are men like that? They want to eat, and we have to be the ones to get up." "Tell your Seryoga to have a talk with Pasha," Olizia suggested. "He can give him the phone number for a cooking course." "What kind of courses?" Jinya inquired, her voice tinged with confusion. "I don't understand. What are you talking about?" "Just today, I found out where my beloved man has been spending his evenings for the past 2 weeks," Olizia explained, taking a sip of her coffee. "At cooking classes?" Jinya clarified, her voice expressing deep amazement. "Elha," Olizia confirmed, her tone resigned. "Can you imagine?" "Well, you should actually be glad," Jinya remarked. "You didn't need to worry. He wasn't cheating or hiding anything. He was just learning how to cook." "Let me tell you the whole story," Olizia suggested, ready to share the details of her turbulent experience. Wait, Jinya laughed. "He woke you up at 8 in the morning?" "Yes," Olizia chuckled. "I was all disheveled, rushing to the door. I thought there was a flood. And there he was, standing with that stupid box of cakes." "How come you didn't throw them at him?" Jinya asked, amused. "I was in shock," Olizia admitted. "It took me a while to process what was happening." "Jinya, explain to me, how can someone be so foolish? And why did he choose 8 in the morning? Couldn't he have picked any other time?" "Well, maybe he baked them all night," Jinya suggested playfully. "And he thought he'd surprise you right away. So, what are you planning to do?" "That's why I called you," Olizia replied. "I have no idea what I should do. On one hand, I need to apologize. But on the other hand, why?" "Elha," Jinya agreed, understanding the dilemma. "You've been stressed for 2 weeks and he lied to you, making excuses about work. Why didn't he just say he was planning a surprise? It might have been a bit foolish, but in the end, he did it for you. He even went to learn how to cook." Olizia let out a sigh. "I really don't know what to do. We've been together for 3 years, and I wish he would propose to me instead of this nonsense. Sometimes I just don't understand him, Jinya. He buys me expensive earrings, which are nice, but I have nowhere to wear them. Yet, whenever we talk about taking our relationship to the next level, he changes the subject. He's not a stupid guy, but I don't know, Jinya. Maybe he just doesn't love me?" "I don't think so," Jinya reassured her friend. "You and I have already discussed this. I've been observing him closely. He's very attentive to you, and unlike my husband, he's very gentle. I like the way he treats you. But the fact that he doesn't want to get married, it's really strange," she whispered. "Maybe he's just not ready." Olizia pondered Zenya's words, realizing that there might be more to Pavel's actions and intentions than she initially perceived. The situation was complicated, and she needed to have an honest conversation with him to gain a better understanding of his feelings and intentions. "For what? We don't even live together. Maybe he's used to it. And he doesn't want to change anything," Olizia voiced her doubts. "I don't know, Olizia, what to advise you," Jinya admitted. "And I don't know either," Olizia replied, feeling lost in her thoughts. "Wait," Gianni interrupted. "Mine is saying something." Olizia heard Evgenia's husband speaking in the background, occasionally catching fragments of Zhenya's exclamations. "No way, are you sure? That's a yes." "Listen," Zhenya finally spoke again. "Call Pasha. Reconcile with him. And do it as soon as possible." "Why?" Olizia questioned. "What did your husband tell you?" "Olizia, just trust me," Zhenya insisted. "No," Olizia responded firmly. "Tell me what's going on." Zhenya let out a sigh. "Okay, fine. Seryoga said that this morning Pasha was planning to propose to you. He went out of his way to learn how to make those cakes." "Oh God," Olivia moaned. "What a fool I've been. And I'm such a fool," she added, feeling a mixture of emotions. Her friend couldn't contain her laughter. "Will you call him?" "I don't know," Olivia said, closing her eyes. "What should I do now? Why can't things be straightforward, like when people simply invite you to a restaurant?" She chuckled suddenly. "Imagine if I had thrown those cakes at him, and there's a ring inside. Oh God," she shook her head. "How could he do this? What should I say to him? I forgive you, bring the cakes." Genya laughed along with Olivia, finding her friend's predicament both amusing and endearing. "You're the quirkiest of all my friends," she said, still chuckling. "I've never laughed so much. But listen, whatever you decide to do now, you have to marry him. You two are perfect for each other." Olivia contemplated Zenya's words, a mix of emotions flooding her thoughts. She realized that despite the initial confusion and misunderstandings, Pavel's intentions were sincere. It was time to pick up the phone and make amends, embracing the joyous surprise that awaited her. Olivia ended her conversation with Genya, but she still couldn't make up her mind. She didn't really have a reason to be angry with Pavel, but the way he proposed felt strange to her. What if it was all just a prank orchestrated by Sergei? She had already stretched her ears, eagerly waiting for an explanation. As the phone rang again, Olivia glanced at the screen and let out a sigh. It was her mother, ready for their weekly conversation. "How was your week?" her mother asked. "It's been all right, Mom," Olivia replied. "How are the preparations for the anniversary coming along? And how's work?" "Work is fine," her mother replied, frustration evident in her voice. "But the party preparations are driving me crazy. You have no idea how much I have to do. So many decisions to make. It's exhausting, and the worst part is that no one seems to want to work properly." Olivia couldn't help but feel sorry for the people who had to work alongside her mother. Her mother's standards were always demanding, if not impossible to meet. "I'm sure you'll organize a wonderful party, Mom," Olivia reassured her. "Of course," her mother responded. "But I hope you won't disappoint me either. Are you still with that Paul?" "Yes, Mother," Olivia answered. "Why?" her mother questioned. "He's never going to marry you. Can't you at least bring a decent guy to the anniversary?" "Pasha is decent," Olivia defended. "Enough of this, please." "Fine," her mother said, sounding disappointed. "If that's your choice, then so be it. But Olivia, at least watch what you eat. You need to lose 5 pounds. Olivia let out a tired sigh. "I am watching my weight, Mom," she assured. "I'm hardly eating anything, and all for the anniversary." "Well done," her mother acknowledged. "Don't forget to send me a picture of the dress you've chosen. I need to approve it. You know the kind of guests we'll have." Olivia agreed, albeit with a touch of resignation in her voice. "I'll send it to you, Mom. You can count on it." Ending the call, Olivia couldn't help but feel the weight of her mother's expectations. The pressure to meet her standards and fit into a certain image seemed suffocating at times. Yet, amidst it all, she found herself pondering the situation with Pavel once again, unsure of how to navigate her emotions and the path forward. "I got it, Mom," Olivia muttered, her attention drifting away from her mother's words. As she ended the call, she noticed a message from Paul that had arrived while she was on the call. Curious, she opened it and read the contents. "I'm sorry. I hope you're awake by now. I really shouldn't have come so early." A small smile tugged at the corners of Olivia's lips. At least there was some acknowledgement from Paul. Then she remembered her conversation with her mother and let out a wry grin. It had always been like this. No matter what she did or how she dressed, she never seemed to meet her mother's expectations. Olivia was convinced that her mother had already picked out her dress for the anniversary, not just one, but 2. One that she truly liked, but in a size Olivia would never fit into, and another that she would reluctantly hand over to her daughter, accompanied by a sigh and a lecture on how Olivia didn't take care of herself properly. Why do I put up with this? A sudden thought crossed her mind. After all, it's a sure thing. What does it matter if I eat or not? I wouldn't fit into a size 42 dress anyway. And even if Sergi was joking and Paul has no intentions of proposing. Olesya dialed Paul's number without further hesitation. "Hi, Olesya," he greeted when he answered. "Forgive me, I'm an idiot. And those cooking classes, I completely forgot about your diet. I know how important it is for you to look great at your father's anniversary. I just don't think you need to lose any weight. You're already the most beautiful." Her smile widened slightly. "Why don't you come over?" she suggested. "I will," Pavel replied. "Will you bring the cakes?" she asked hopefully. "And the diet?" Pavel sounded surprised. "Oh, to hell with it," Olesya said. "I really want to try what you've learned to make." Pavel arrived quickly, seemingly anticipating such a turn of events. "Let's have tea," she invited him. "I'm sorry for yelling at you this morning too." "It's all right," Pasha reassured her, pulling her into a hug. "I hope the cakes turned out good. I also learned how to bake a cake and make a delicious cream. When you're not on a diet." "Why did you take cooking classes?" Olesya inquired. "I never realized you had a particular passion for cooking." "You're an amazing cook," Pavel answered, "and every time I visit you, you always surprise me with something delicious. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. I wanted to do something nice for you too. So next time I come over, I'll invite you, and I'll prepare a meal for you. I won't stop at just this cooking course. I want to learn even more." Olesya leaned in and kissed him tenderly. "That's really sweet," she replied. "Can I see it?" She nodded toward the box. "Of course," Pavel responded. Olesya lifted the lid and smiled. Inside were 4 small cakes, but she couldn't spot a ring anywhere. So Sergi was joking, she thought to herself. "Did I seem upset when I called you?" Pavel asked as they sat down for tea. "Yes, my mother called again," Olesya admitted. "What's wrong?" he inquired. As always, Olesya sighed. "You know my mom." "Perhaps even too well," Pavel replied. "So I'm surprised that you agreed to have these." He nodded towards the pastries, which Olesya was enjoying with delight. "I was actually going to throw them away." "You should have," she said between bites. "They're really good, but I won't ask for the recipe. It can be your specialty." "Deal," Pavel agreed with a smile. "And you know what? I changed my mind," Olesya continued. "I've realized that I have no chance of pleasing my mother, and neither do you, by the way." "Well, it's reasonable to say that I don't deserve you," Pavel said. Olesya let out a sigh. "Something like that," she agreed. "You're not worthy of me, and I can never meet my parents' standards." "Don't be sad," Pavel pleaded, squeezing her hand. "What did she say to you this time?" "She asked me to show you the dress I chose for the anniversary," Olesya explained. "And that means no matter what I show her, she'll criticize it." "Olesya," Pavel said, looking into her eyes, "will you stop letting your mother's opinions dictate your happiness? No matter what you do, it will never be enough for her." "It's easy for you to say," Olesya replied. "Okay, maybe we can change the subject." "All right," Pavel agreed willingly. "I've been thinking about how I can make it up to you. I'm still embarrassed about waking you up this morning and all. And I thought, how about we go ice skating? You love it, right?" "Come on," Olesya said joyfully. "That's exactly what we need. It'll take my mind off my mom. Are we going now?" "Absolutely," Pavel confirmed, pulling her into a warm embrace. "Get ready, and we'll leave right away." "Well, no," Olesya said with a mischievous grin. "Since I have to be physically active, I can eat another cake first." Olesya's mood finally lifted as they arrived at the skating rink. A broad smile adorned her face. "I don't know why I love this place so much," she confessed to Pavel. "But when I skate, I feel completely free. It's as if I could fly." Paul took her in his arms and spun her around on the ice. Then he gently placed her back on her feet and looked at her intently. "That's why I thought this would be the perfect place," he said. "The perfect place for what?" Olesya wondered. Paul took a small box out of his pocket and opened it. "I know I've been prolonging this moment," he said, handing the ring to Olesya. But it wasn't because of any doubts. I just wanted it to be perfect. From the moment I first saw you, I knew you were the one I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. You had to be my wife. I love you, Olacia. And if you agree to be my wife, you'll make me the happiest man in the world. Yes, 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 Olacia exclaimed, jumping with joy. Of course, I agree. She threw herself into Pavel's arms, and applause erupted all around them. After a moment, Pavel pulled back slightly and asked, "Would you like to try on the ring?" "I do," she said, holding out her hand. Then a sudden question popped into Olacia's mind. "You mentioned earlier that you only thought about the skating rink this afternoon. Is proposing to me also a way of asking for my forgiveness?" Pavel shook his head. "No, of course not. Initially, I had planned to put the ring in the cakes. But then, well, I'm glad it happened this way." Olacia chuckled. "I was actually considering smearing those cakes on your face this morning. I'm glad I didn't." "Very glad," Pavel agreed, kissing her tenderly. "By the way, that's not all." "Not all?" Olacia looked surprised. "What else is there?" Pavel seemed a bit bashful. "Well," he began, "when do you agree to get married?" "What do you mean, when?" Olacia asked, puzzled. "Anytime works for me." "How about in 2 weeks?" Pavel cautiously proposed. "Pash, I don't mind, of course, but we won't have enough time to plan everything," Olacia replied. "Olacia, you don't understand," Pavel explained. "I didn't want to stress you out or worry you. I've actually already planned our wedding. Everything has been arranged and paid for. You just have to choose the dress." Olacia's eyes widened in astonishment. "Are you serious?" she asked. "No," Pavel replied with a playful grin. "I'm angry." Then he quickly added, "No, of course not. I think you're amazing." As they embraced, Olacia felt a rush of excitement and gratitude. The end. Thank you for reading, subscribing, and liking.